Every day, thousands of drivers gamble with their lives, checking messages, taking calls, losing focus. Some get away with it, some don't. That's why police forces are stepping up their efforts, using unmarked buses like this to catch distracted drivers in the act. If the thought of getting a fine or losing a license doesn't scare you, maybe Junior's story will.
My mum was like 5'0", like really small, but like this really feisty character. Sort of brought me up by herself pretty much from being really young. So she was out there, like completely wacky sometimes. I had the most infectious laugh you can ever imagine. Really loud laugh that everyone had just, as soon as you hear it, they'd know it was her. But she was also like super, super kind. She'd do anything for anyone. My dad, I call him my dad, he was my stepdad on paper, but he was actually my dad. Sort of came around when I was about 7. Completely opposite of my mum, which was really weird. He's like 6 foot, big guy, sort of, big built, but quite quiet on the surface. Really big, thick Cockney accent. He was born in the northeast, but he moved down to London, so he was sort of that fatherly figure that I kind of always needed. I've used this phrase before, but he kind of gave me the keys to the world. He sort of taught me a load of good life lessons. Like, it doesn't matter what you do in life, just be the best that you can be at it. And he was like, I'm not bothered whether you join the military or you're a bin man or whatever, as long as you are the best that you can be.
Everything happened too fast. Everybody pulled the brakes super fast.
On July 15th, 2021 at 6:18 p.m, a tragic collision occurred on the A1 motorway near Balburn. HGV driver Ian Yonot, distracted by his mobile phone, failed to see slowing traffic ahead. His lorry, travelling at 58 miles per hour, ploughed into multiple vehicles, killing David Daglish, Elaine Sullivan and Paul Mullen instantly. Among the victims were Junior's parents, whose lives were taken in a crash that should never have happened. This wasn't an accident, it was a choice. In a world full of distractions, it can be incredibly tempting to check your phone while driving. Watch the rest of this video to find out the current rules in 2025 for using your phone while driving.
The use of mobile phones or distraction within the car is one of the 5 main reasons why people are killed or seriously injured on the UK roads. Now today you will see behind me a big red bus, and what we're going to be doing today is taking that out onto the streets of Plymouth. We've got officers on the bus and we're looking specifically for mobile phone or distraction offences.
Now you can join us in today's video to see a unique behind the scenes as to how Devon and Cornwall Police are combating mobile phone use, as after all, 5 people die on our roads every single day due to just that.
Opdecker, this is probably the 4th or 5th time I think it's run now. We're going to be putting sort of split.
I wanted to see for myself what really happens inside that bus. Because let's be honest, most drivers think they can get away with using their phone behind the wheel. But the reality? Police forces across the country are running these operations every single day, using buses, unmarked cars and plainclothes officers to catch distracted drivers in the act. Inside the unmarked bus, 7 to 8 police officers are working together, constantly scanning the road below. They have the perfect vantage point, looking directly down into vehicles to catch drivers in the act. They're not working alone. Every officer is in constant radio contact with marked and unmarked police cars waiting further down the road. The moment they spot an offence, a driver texting, scrolling, changing their song, holding their phone to their ear, they relay the details instantly.
He's currently not stopping for us.
7-5, do you want me to come down in the march car?
No, he's stopping now. I've got him. I might drugs wipe him as well. Yeah, if you're happy to take him into custody and whatever. If you weren't using your phone, you made the choice to use your phone. Whilst you were using your phone, you were looking down, you weren't looking where you were going. If a little girl had run out in front of you, you'd have hit them and killed them. We are here today to deal with stuff like mobile phones, seat belts, and the fatal 5 reasons why people don't make it home for tea. 5 people a day are killed on the roads, far more than in knife crime. And we have to deal with that. Because I don't want to be knocking on any more doors to say somebody's not coming home. It took him a while to stop for us, whether that was because he was distracted or whether he wasn't paying enough attention, we don't know. But his drug swipe came back negative, breath test came back negative, but he was issued an OSCO, or a traffic offence report, for using a mobile phone whilst he was driving. So that will go to our tickets and collisions section, and then they will deal with it from there.
If you want to help support the GCM channels, Owen and I have made a merch line called GCM Apparel, and this will help us with two objectives. Not only supporting us helping make new videos, but also directly raising awareness for Fatal 5. And as you can see right here, this is a cool comic book strip on speeding, and the one that I'm wearing is all about distracted driving.
Give them a little insight as to why we set this up.
So we set this up the same as we did with the rest of the channel. It's to save lives, and it's to save predominantly young driver lives. That's why we do what we do. I don't make any money out of this at all, and the money that would have potentially been coming to me will be going to the charity.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point in it. And we're giving money to charity. Any other money goes back into filming more videos. And it gets more of our stuff out there, and hopefully therefore save more lives. So we would really love for you to get involved with this, get the t-shirts. Not all of them have got the designs on the back, some are quite plain in design, so if you don't want the big designs you can have like the plainer t-shirts, but please support us with this. Let's save some more lives on the road.
Now, while a couple of our designs pop up on the screen, we have a unique code that you guys can use, GCM10, and you will save 10% GCM-wide on georgescarmedia.com. So go check it out, let us know in the comments which garments you choose, and we'll see you in the next scene. So it turns out it wasn't just mobile phones that Owen's team dealt with on that day.
No, we dealt with many offences. We recovered one stolen moped. We had 4 mobile phone offences, 3 drivers with no insurance, 1 driving otherwise in accordance with a licence, 1 arrest for Section 5A, 1 possession of controlled substance, and 1 no seatbelt. And what we often find is what we call the snowball effect, and that is a driver that is happy to commit one offence will quite often commit other offences as well. And one of the drivers that we're about to show you, he was stopped for being on his mobile phone, but when we dug deeper into it, we find that he's got no insurance, he's driving otherwise in accordance with the licence, he tested positive on a drug swipe, and he was also in possession of a controlled substance. What have we got with this one?
He's been spotted driving that vehicle.
Which one? The Mini?
The Mini, yeah.
Right.
He's got no insurance. He's not insured to drive the vehicle. He's not got a full licence.
So he was on the phone?
He's on the phone, yeah.
Yeah. He's got no licence, no insurance.
The vehicle's going to get impounded.
Yeah.
He's also said that he had some cannabis last night as well. So just a drug swiping him now.
Okay.
Which I imagine.
Yeah, we'll see. So this is the drug swipe that we've just used on the driver of our Mini. If you can see there, it's quite faint, but it is coming through. You can see the control line for the cannabis and the cocaine, and then there's a faint line on the test line that is getting more prominent as time goes on. But it just does indicate that there is cannabis in the driver's system. So now he'll get taken back to custody, and they'll take bloods and see exactly how much cannabis he has in his body, and then we'll take it from there.
Now, finding an opportunity to use your mobile phone in a controlled environment is obviously very out of normality. However, I'm using a driving sim here at Apex Race Centre in Columpton, and we're going to show you that it really does make a difference using your phone while driving. Now, not only is my hand off the wheel, I'm now not able to do things properly, I'm losing focus, and hopefully I can demonstrate that my driving prowess, which wasn't good in the first place, is of course much worse trying to use my phone.
Now obviously we can't demonstrate this on the road, so we've come down to Apex Race Centre where we've set George up on a simulator so that we can do this in a controlled environment. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get George to set 2 lap times on, I think it's Brands Hatch course here,
Yep.
And we're going to take the average of those, so we've got a time for his 2 laps. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get George to do 2 more laps, and then I'm going to continue to text him while he's doing it, and he's got to reply to my text as well. So it will kind of demonstrate how much of his attention he can still put to racing around the track whilst he's trying to text me at the same time. So let's see how he gets on. So George has set his 2 lap times now, so now I'm going to start texting him to see how he gets on, trying to reply to me as well. I'm not fastest at texters though.
Right, so I set a 53 without my phone. This is so hard.
Okay, so he has seen my text.
Oh God. What? I tried to send it
Doesn't seem
4
to be doing
times.
that well, does he?
What's
Yeah.
going on?
Right, he's crashed straight into the barrier.
It's actually not working. Genuinely. Look, there we go.
What's he doing? He's not very good at it, is he? George, you've stopped in a field.
Where am I? Oh, yeah.
I think this kind of proves my point a little bit, doesn't it? It's
Like most people that use their phone, I guess they think they're good at it, aren't they? Have you crashed? Yes. Over revving the car as well. God knows how people would do this if they drove an automatic with paddle shift.
if we take it as, let's say, George is on the motorway speed limit is 70 mile an hour, so let's assume George is doing 70 mile an hour. So for every second that he travels, he's travelling around 30 metres. So every time he looks down at his phone, for every second he's looking at his phone, he's travelling 30 metres without looking at what's going on around him. So your average time to look down at your phone and send a text, it's got to be, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds?
Yeah.
And over all that time, you're travelling without looking at any of the hazards that are going on around you, anything that is in front of you, and that's why we get situations like what happened to Julia's parents.
Right. I have now lost count how many times I came off the track off the back of being distracted by my phone. And they did actually say, by looking at all the data, that I was 50% worse when I was distracted because I had Owen messaging me. Now, they have very kindly said, but firstly, big ups Apex Race Centre to anyone that uses the link in the description section below. When you place a booking to come here for yourself, use code GCM and you'll save 20% in April. So thanks to Apex, let's get moving. Now, it's one thing having the police telling us we can't use our phone when we're driving a car. But we all know there are certain angles in which you actually can use it. So Owen, talk to us. What are the rules when it comes to actually getting away with using your phone in your car?
So the basic way to look at it is it's a handheld mobile phone. You cannot use it whilst it's in your hand. And so anything that you do with it whilst it's in your hand is the offence. So that's even unlocking the screen or anything like that. You don't actually have to be using the phone. Just unlocking the screen is enough to be committing that offence. So if you do absolutely need it for GPS or sat-nav or anything, you can have it in the holder and you can use it for that. But what I'd say is if you're actually going to touch the phone or use it for anything, other than just be sort of listening to the navigation, then pull over in a safe place and then you can go into the use of the phone to, change where you're going to or anything like that that you need to do with it. Please don't try and do it whilst you are actually moving. So that's the main thing of it, is do not use it in your hand at any time, because obviously it carries that 6 points as well and a £200 fine, which is quite a big price to pay. So if you don't actually need it at all and you're not using it for satellite navigation or anything, just do this, get rid of it, get it out of temptation so that you're not looking to use it at all. Now, I'm going to preempt some of the comments here about some of the kit that we have in the car as well. And the use of the mobile phone is one side of the offence, but you've also got not being in proper control of the vehicle. So if you're looking down, changing your sat-nav settings, and you're not looking where you're going, that's not the mobile phone offence because it is in the holder, but it could be not being in proper control of the vehicle, or even a due care offence because you're not looking where you're going. All our kit inside the car here is also type approved. So it has to go through that type approval for us to be able to use it in the vehicle. And there are different settings for when we're moving and when we are not moving, obviously. And things like the radio, we've got the radio here, but then we've got the little button here that we can use. So when we're driving and we're just pressing the button to talk, which makes it a lot easier, and we're not having to use a personal set that we've got up here. But when you go into the clear tone systems on here, when we log in, we have to log in either single crude or double crude. So if I'm on my own, I log in as single crude, and it massively restricts what I can access on this system whilst I'm actually moving the vehicle. Once I've stopped and I'm parked, it then opens up the rest of the system. If I'm double crude, so I've got a crewmate with me, we can then click double crude so my crewmate can then access all the things that are on here and we can do things while we're on the move. But for me, single crude, it's in single crude mode, which means I can only access certain parts of it, like here, the matrix board, so that if I need to put slow down or follow me or anything on the matrix board, I can do that because we're dealing with emergency situations and we need to be able to use those pieces of kit.
Likewise, we've got the speed equipment here, which is literally just coloured buttons, and it's really easy just to press which coloured button you want, and then turning lights on and things like that. Again, it's just the press of a button there. So all our kit inside of here is relatively simple to use and doesn't affect our view of the road or anything else that we are doing.
Now, we all know that using your mobile phone is a very bad idea while driving, but we get loads of questions on similar videos asking us the legal way to take advantage of all this phone's tech without getting distracted while driving your car. Now, this is my Mega Mounts vent holder, and combined with a self-adhesive bit of metal on the back of my phone case that you can fit to all phones, as you can see right there, it sticks with ease. And combined with a vent on any car, I can now make my phone not only safe, but secure, meaning I don't need to touch it while driving. But I know that a lot of you are thinking there are a lot of different windscreen mounts that actually go on the window. And I've used them in the past, but it turns out they're not a very good idea because they can, in fact, get in the way of motorcycles and mean that you could potentially miss one when it's out on the road. But combined with saying that that's the safest way to use your phone, I would argue that you should probably get an Apple CarPlay unit. Now, big shout out to Pioneer for supporting us on this video because it allows us to actually get our message out so Junior's message can get through to you guys. This is something that you should use in your car because it allows you to take advantage of things like WhatsApp, Spotify, SatNav, and take phone calls legally. Now, that's the important thing. Not only are these accessible to young drivers, but they're also really affordable. And I've had them in all my cars ever since I started tinkering with them. So firstly, big shout out to Pioneer for supporting us on this video. But we've got a lot more to talk about. But before we do so, it's worth mentioning that I know you're all thinking about the infotainment systems in police cars. They actually comply with specific legislation, so that's why coppers are allowed to do just that. But let's get on with the rest of the video.
Pioneer have very generously given us an Apple CarPlay unit to give away to you guys for supporting us on the georgescarmedia.com website. So to anyone that purchases some merch using code GCM10 will receive a free Apple CarPlay unit. Only one of you, so make sure you're quick.
You start a motorbike. Yes, you got granddad's belly. Yes,
They give me a little bit of detail about the nature of the accident, but probably not everything at that stage. They said that a lorry had went into the back of their vehicle, and their vehicle was stationary in some traffic. The lorry had just hit straight into the back of their vehicle and they were killed on impact. I think that was pretty much all that I was told at the time. They said that they hadn't been able to formally recognise their bodies. The nature of the accident or the incident and the impact that the lorry hit their vehicle with, it went straight over their vehicle, completely crushing it but igniting it in a fireball. And I think when it did that, it's sort of the phrase that they used, it sort of destroyed their bodies beyond recognisable matter. So all of the matter inside of the vehicle was sort of mixed with each other or completely destroyed. So they couldn't necessarily identify them straight away. And one of the ways that they ultimately found out was their family dog was in the car at the time, and the window was open, I think, for the dog. And when obviously the vehicle impacted, it was thrown onto the carriageway, and they were able to scan the microchip and work out that, well, it belonged to my dad.
How did you feel when you learned that the crash was caused by a driver using a mobile phone?
I think there was a lot of rage from a lot of different people. I mean, I'm not naive to think that people don't use their mobile phones when they're driving. In fact, I've probably done it myself before, where you're driving along and the roads are really quiet and you've probably picked up your phone. And I think what I was surprised at is when I found out what he was doing on his phone when he was on dating sites. I've said it before, but I don't envisage that he's went out there to hurt anybody or cause any malice. He's probably just made that unconscious choice, or it might have been conscious choice in this case, to pick up his mobile phone, start doing whatever he did. But yeah, I think I was annoyed when I found out what he was doing, more than the fact that he was on his mobile phone. Really frustrating, just because people don't think it's going to happen to them. People don't understand the dangers around it. And I think you just pay lip service to it. You just, like I said, you don't think it's going to happen to you. So, yeah.